hits it.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to DSM pregame live streaming to here exclusively on DSM Media's YouTube channel. Guys, if you are new to the channel, first and foremost, make sure you check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. Hit that follow button. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. You can check out the link tree. It's in our bio. It'll take you to every social media platform. We are available on here, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all that good stuff. But if you guys want to be interactive throughout each and every one of our shows, including all of these DSM pregame lives that we do for the Phillies, Sixers, and Eagles seasons, make sure to check out the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications to let you know when we go live each and every time here on the channel. I am one half of your host here, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. To my left, my co-host here on Turf Talk, DSM Pregame Lives, and the Faithful Fanatics Morning Show, my man Scotty. You can check him out on Twitter as well at Scotty Drown. Phillies game 2 of a 4-game set in Cincinnati to take on the Reds as they dropped the game 1 last night in 6-2 fashion. We talked about that game. We talked about this weekend or this past week with a 3-game losing streak this morning, man. So I'm not going to harp on the past too much, but I will say 4-9, this team has already dug itself into a hole, and the line needs to be drawn now. They desperately need a win, not just for their record, not just for the fan base confidence, but for their own. They don't look, you mentioned it earlier, they don't look like they're playing for each other. They don't look like a cohesive unit. They don't look like they're having fun, as we saw in the postseason run last year.
Yeah.
A lot to work on with this team, man. But how are you feeling as we head into this matchup versus Cincy?
I'm feeling anxious, man. I'm ready to see what they're going to look like, right? And stop talking about it, but just see what they're about. Because like you mentioned, this is like the line in the sand where are you going to take this season serious or not, right? And that goes from, Topper all the way down to, Christian Posh, right? Like, are you guys going to lock in on this season and focus? Because it just feels like the focus isn't there. The leadership isn't there. Leading by example isn't there. Your best players aren't leading by example. There's no reason that Strom should be our best pitcher, and we're what? 4-9 so far. We played 13 games, and Matt Strom is our best pitcher so far this season, right? Better than Nola, better than our aces and Wheeler. That doesn't make sense. And then, mind you, Trey hitting over 300, right? He's playing well, but he's not playing like the best player on the team right now, right? Like, he's not coming up in the biggest moments of the game and making the hits that we need, getting the contact that we need in the game. And the same goes for Kyle Schwarber, which we knew. I know you talked a lot about this leading up to the season. Kyle Schwarber was due for a down year compared to what he did last year, but there's still opportunities mixed in there where we just can't have Kyle Schwarber coming out last night and looking lost at his first at bat. Like, he looked lost. He didn't look like he had a clue. Like, it's not just, he struck out or, he popped it out. He didn't look like he had a clue on what was going on at first. And then later in the game when nobody's on base, of course, you crank one out of the park. But that's the thing. Guys got to step up, but not only step up, do it in the biggest moments of the game where we need you right now, right? Bryce Harper isn't coming through that tunnel right now to save the day. You need to figure it out, and you need to figure it out now.
I agree with you, man. Schwarber, obviously the average is down. Yesterday was his 4th Schwarbomb of the season. So that total has a pretty stellar, pretty steady pace so far through the first 13 games.
And I would like to know how many of those Schwarbombs are with people on base. I don't have the numbers.
I can tell you right now, I know that 3 of them are.
Yeah.
The Yankees was a solo shot. Last night was a solo shot. And he did it against the Marlins when I was there on Tuesday night. The line drive down the right field line was a solo shot. Yep. The other one, I'm trying to remember when that was. But I know at least 3 of the 4 so far have been solo home runs for him. Yeah. So like you mentioned, the timely hitting, leaving runners stranded when they're in scoring position. I said 3 of 21 or 4 of 21. It's worse than that. I believe it's 3 of 31 or 4 of 31 right now. Yeah. It's been really bad, man. Combined between JT Realmuto, Trey Turner, and Nick Castellanos, there's 1 home run combined between those 3 in 13 games.
Can't
Not
happen.
good enough, fellas. Like,
Yeah.
not Nick's been great. His plate discipline has been a lot better. He's hitting double after double. Trey's hitting for over 300. JT struggled. I don't know. You continue to wait for that one at bat, for that one swing of the bat to change
Yeah.
things, switch the
Yeah.
momentum around. And it feels like we're not getting that, or you get that moment and they don't capitalize on it the
Yeah.
next night, right? So let's
Yeah.
see how they can start to do that tonight. Try to
Yeah.
put an end to this 3-game losing streak you have right now. Avoid a split with Cincinnati for the time being and still have a chance to win the series and take 3 out of 4. How do they do that? Well, it starts on the pitching mound. Tonight's pitching matchup features Connor Overton for the Cincinnati Reds, who the Phillies saw on Easter Sunday, as well as Taijuan Walker, who also faced off against Overton on that Sunday afternoon, in which the Reds rallied in the top of the ninth to overcome two-run deficits versus the Philadelphia Phillies. When you're looking strictly at these two guys, you have to give the edge to the Phillies starter on the bump tonight in Taijuan Walker.
Yeah.
And when I look at Taijuan Walker tonight, I'm going to piggyback off of what I brought up to you on the morning show. He has to find a way to keep his pitch count down, make pitches mean something, pound the strike zone as much as possible, and get deeper into this game. The fact that there has been one starter, Zach Wheeler, out of 13 games played this year, where a Phillies pitcher has gone through 6 innings pitched is ridiculous at this point. And Taijuan Walker has not even gotten into the fifth in his 2 starts. 105 pitches through just over 4 innings of work on Easter Sunday.
5
that
walks.
Cannot happen. He walked a bunch, and then the bullpen came in and walked a bunch. You mentioned Matt Strahm earlier, and he gets to start tomorrow.
Yeah.
Matt Strahm, bullpen piece or not, has done one thing very well. He don't mess around. He don't waste time. He pounds the strike zone. And don't get me wrong, when you pound the strike zone as much as he's doing right now, there is going to come a point in time where things are hanging over the plate too often and too much, and that velocity is not up, and you're going to get rocked. But Taijuan Walker needs to take a page out of Matt Strahm's book tonight and not have a 90 to 100 pitch count through 4 innings of freaking work. Taijuan Walker needs to get into the 6th inning tonight, Scotty.
Yeah, I agree, man. You look at what he's done in the first 2 games, like you said, he gets to 4 innings and it's like he hits his wall, right? And he gets up in his pitch count and you just can't risk pushing him into another inning, right? But the walks, that goes along with the pitch count. If you keep the walks down, you're going to keep the pitch count down. So like you said, he needs to hammer the strike zone. And you look at his matchup, right? They're going against Overton tonight.
Yep.
Last week, they were able to get a W against him. It was a 6-4. Oh, excuse me. No,
No. He was the Sunday
They
game.
lost. They lost against him. So this was actually a game where Trey Turner went over. And that's one of those things that can't happen. You look across the board, the rest of the guys in this game. You had Schwartz, he got on the board. You had Castellanos got on the board. Stott, Bohm, Marsh,
had a big game.
Sosa. All of those guys got on the board, but Trey Turner and JT Realmuto couldn't get on the board for us. Which ultimately led to the loss, right? But I think the key thing here tonight is that he has to be better than Overton, right? That's the difference. That's what has to happen tonight. And you think coming into this matchup that Walker would have the advantage, but we just haven't seen it so far, right? I think we were pretty excited about Walker coming in this season, right? And it's been pretty underwhelming so far.
I think,
given the output.
I think that's a great word to describe him, because to act like he's been poor,
right,
isn't correct.
Right.
He hasn't gotten shelled in his first 2 starts. But up in New York, he gave up 2 runs in the first inning, settled in after that, but only really got into the 5th. He threw for 4 1/3, 4 2/3 against the Yankees. Pitch count was up, walked a couple guys early. You saw the same thing with the command issues against the Reds last Sunday. Walked a bunch of guys early, right? Gave up a couple early runs, 105 pitches in the 5th, early on in the 5th inning. So he hasn't been pulled because he's given up 5 or 6 runs on 7 early hits. He's had some command issues, and he's had some durability issues in terms of conditioning so far. So he hasn't been bad, but he has not been what you've needed out of your number 3 starter so far this season. when he comes in and gets that contract, basically expecting to be the fourth in this rotation, but Ranger Suarez is out right now. And even when Ranger's healthy, you would like to view Taijuan Walker and Ranger on semi-even playing field on their best days.
Yeah.
So to me, you have a 3 or 4 starter right now who is pitching as well as your fifth.
Right.
So you need a big outing from Taijuan Walker tonight, especially because, listen, I know we talked Brooklyn Nets and Sixers earlier, and you kept bringing up the fact, like, I hope we're not sounding like we're discrediting them or trashing them.
Yeah.
I don't mean to trash the Reds. And to their credit, they fought valiantly against the Braves in their 3 games played against the Braves, lost by 1 in all 3 matchups. They're 2-2 versus our Phillies so far, winning 2 straight. They're not good.
Yeah.
They're not a good ball club.
Yeah. They're rebuilding.
I believe they were projected to finish 4th or 5th in the Central this year. They lack star power. Jonathan India is one of their best, this shouldn't be the case right now.
Yeah.
So to act like Taijuan Walker needs to go out and do some Herculean thing tonight is ridiculous. Taijuan Walker needs to go out and just be that, Taijuan Walker, and he should have a successful outing against the Cincinnati Reds. Bottom line.
Yeah, that's the bottom line tonight. The guy's got, and that goes across the board. It's Walker that we're talking about here, but everybody needs to step up and do their job. Like, it's as simple as that, man. And it starts on the mound tonight. He has to come out and do his job as the third starting pitcher, man. It's very frustrating. That's kind of, I guess that's where my tone is coming from, to just sit here and watch these guys underperform, because that's what they're doing. They're underperforming. It's not that the other teams are blowing us out of the water with their play and outstanding maneuvers. Like, it's not like that. Maybe the Rangers, that series, you can point to that. They played out of their minds. But going against the Reds and even the Marlins series, those are very winnable games if you don't make the self-harming mistakes. And
starting mistakes, leaving hundreds of runners in scoring position, it feels like. One last thing about Taijuan Walker before we move on is exactly what you just said. It's frustrating, and why is that? Because they're not playing up to the standard we're holding them to, that themselves are probably wanting to hold themselves to. They're not playing up to they're not meeting expectations right now. And when you're in the middle of a losing streak against an inferior opponent, you need a calming presence on the mound. Yeah. Rob Thompson needs a guy he can hand the ball off to and say, take us home tonight. And if Taijuan Walker is going to come out and struggle with his control and command again, and he's going to have a high pitch count, and he's going to give free pass after free pass to a Reds team that doesn't need our help right now, because for whatever reason, they can come up with 2 out hit after 2 out hit against us.
Yeah, they're coming up with those timely hits all they want, man. It's crazy.
He needs to settle in early.
Yeah.
Taijuan Walker needs to get to the 6th inning tonight. That is the bottom line. Now, let's look at this Philadelphia Phillies lineup that Rob Thompson is trotting out there for game number 14 of the season. And, Scotty, I will say this. He's got the correct 9.
Yeah.
He's got the 9 is there. Now, if you want to talk order, we can get to that at the back end in a second. But here is your 9 versus Connor Overton tonight for the Philadelphia Phillies. At second base leading off, you have Bryson Stott back in the leadoff spot again. I like the consistency there, followed by at shortstop Trey Turner, DHing in a 3-hole Kyle Schwarber, cleaning up out in right field Nick Castellanos, batting 5th out in center Brandon Marsh, catching, batting 6th is JT Realmuto, batting 7th back at first base Alec Boehm, in left field batting 8th Jake Cave, and then rounding off the 9 at third base is Edmundo Sosa. Like I said, correct 9, but Scotty, when you look at the order, what sticks out to you?
Yeah, I mean, why is Boehm and JT underneath of Brandon Marsh? Like, if Brandon Marsh can't make it into your everyday lineup, why do you have guys that are in your everyday lineup below Brandon Marsh in the lineup? That's what doesn't make sense to me. Maybe you can connect the dots for me there.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me either, because I would argue that if you can't trust Brandon Marsh to play every day because you don't think he can hit left-handed hitting,
right?
Do you really think it's that much of a jump for him against right-handed pitching,
right,
to bat above Alec Boehm and be in the 5-hole?
Alec Boehm. That's the specific.
That's the guy. That is the one where it's like, right. And there is something about, listen, Marsh has hit incredibly well to start the season. It's a great surprise.
Yeah.
Kevin Long and the staff have done a great job with him. And I'm not saying he shouldn't, be rewarded for that. But there's something about having him in the 9 hole to round off the order and get it back to the top of the lineup.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. There's something about, yes, he's the 9 hole hitter, but when you get down to that, if he has to lead off an inning or he's second in an inning, it goes Marsh, Stott, Turner. There's something to that. Now you're talking Cave, Sosa, who again's been pretty good, but Cave, Sosa, back to the top of the order.
Great
you don't
point.
trust them as much to set the table for the top of the lineup guys. So Marsh hitting 5th ahead of Boehm. Is it making sense? JT hasn't hit well. I like that he's dropped down, but again, Marsh ahead of JT. Is it making a ton of sense? The only thing I could throw at you for that reasoning and explanation by Topper is he's hoping to get a guy like Marsh with speed who might have to lead off an inning on base for a guy like Boehm or JT with power numbers. Maybe that's why, because his on-base percentage is pretty high and his average is up there to start the year. But I would agree with you. I like the top 4. I think that's the correct order right now.
Yeah.
I would have Boehm at 5 instead of Marsh. JT is fine in the 6 hole for me. And then I would slide everybody. I would put Sosa 7, Cave 8 where he is, and Marsh 9. That's what I would do.
I think you made a great point just with the way the lineup works through. And getting the top of an inning starting with Marsh rather than even Sosa, right? Like, or starting the inning with Cave, Marsh, Stott is just going to be a better situation for you. So all around, it just doesn't make sense to me. Maybe he's trying to send a message to JT in a sense, but if you're trying to send a message, that doesn't make sense to Boehm, he's hitting the ball well right now. Yeah. So it's mixed signals all around. And I think that's, once again, one of the underlying narratives with this Phillies team is that they're just sending mixed signals from every part of the baseball field, whether it's outfield.
And what I think people get twisted is the idea that your 9 hole hitter is your worst hitter. And that's not the case for me. Like I said, they have a responsibility to set the table back for when that lineup goes back to the top.
Yeah.
Especially when a 9 hole hitter could very well be your leadoff guy in the 4th inning, in the 6th, 7th inning, something like that. So, yeah, I don't know. There's something different about it. I mean, I guess the fact that you have Sosa, who has more speed than a Jay Cave, who has hit pretty well to start the year and has been getting on base. Sosa could be that table setter as well. I just think it's an overreaction by Thompson that doesn't quite make sense to me. You started this year with Marsh in the 9 hole. And a few games in, he's batting 5th.
Yeah.
But yet you have but you won't play him every day. But you have, I don't know, man. I really don't. I'm trying to piece it together. I'm not even trying to come at Thompson tonight because
you're just trying
this is the lineup that we wanted. This is the 9 that we want out there tonight. So to me, forget the order 6 through 9, 5 through 9. The bottom line is those guys are out there and they have the ability to produce tonight, and they better go do it, because if they can't produce tonight against Connor freaking Overton, this one isn't on Rob Thompson. He didn't play Josh Harrison and Christian Pache and Cody Clemens tonight. He played the guys everybody wants to see out there, myself included right now, and they have to produce. Just like Taijuan Walker has to produce. Just like if he gets through 6th, Soto and Alvarado and Sir Anthony and Kimbrel might have to produce later in the game. That is the bottom line. Scotty, anything else? Lineup, pitching, whatever you're looking at in this game before we get over to our best bets of the night?
No, man. I think the writing's on the wall with this team, and until we see something different, we're going to be saying the same thing. I feel like, you know what I mean? It's just, if you keep making the same mistakes, if you keep playing the same way, there's only so many things we can say as far as fixing those mistakes and ultimately grabbing W's. So hopefully they come out with the right mindset tonight. Like we said, on the morning show. I believe we emphasized it the most. Somebody in this dugout, in this locker room, has to step up as a leader. I mean, I know Bryce is out right now. Somebody has to step up. Reese is out. We know somebody has to step up as a leader tonight and lead by example. It's not about being vocal. It's not about being demonstrative. It's about leading by example and doing your job to the best you can. And somebody, Trey, Kyle, Cassie, JT, it doesn't stop, right? Somebody step up and make a play. And it needs to be multiple guys. It can't just be one either.
I agree, man. I agree. Let's get on over to our best bets segment of the show, brought to you here on Pregame Live. Sorry for the cutoff. That says Phillies Reds at the top, just in case you were wondering. We are 9-9 on the year so far on our best bets record on the DSM Pregame Live show. And starting off at the top of this list, Scotty, as you can see, Phillies run line. That is supposed to be Phillies -5, excuse me. Phillies -1.5. At plus 110 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Phillies run line today. I think they get the win. I'm laying the money line as well, but if you want a little bit more juice, I do think they win by more than one tonight, okay? Yeah. If I think they win, all they got to do is win by more than one, okay? So that's where we're leading off this best bets slip with. Go down our guy on the bump. Taijuan Walker, over 4.5 strikeouts today at -150. Yes, you are eating a little bit of juice on this one, but against the Reds lineup that has, I would say, overproduced so far to start the year.
Yeah.
That Taijuan Walker has already got to work against a few short days ago. I think he comes out with his best stuff tonight. Taijuan Walker over 4.5 strikeouts. And then rounding off the best bet slip. Listen, he's had a couple offers. He's been a little underwhelming with the power to start, but Trey Turner over 1.5 bases, like Scotty alluded to, is almost like Joel Embiid's over in points at 30.5, 31.5. Yeah. It's that close to hitting each and every single night for Trey. So Trey over 1.5 total bases at -120 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Those are your best bets of the night for this Phillies Reds matchup, my man.
Yeah, I love it. I think we talked about how bad the Phillies need this W, and you want to secure a W. You don't want to just scrape, get by the skin of your teeth. You need to make a statement win tonight. This has to be a statement win that builds momentum. I know we've had a couple of them throughout this season. We've had probably 2 so far this year where they've come from behind or made a big play to win the game. Tonight needs to be the official statement game. We drew the line in the sand. They need to go out here and make a statement, win by 2 runs. That's not even a statement, right? Yep. You look at Walker, he's hit that 5K mark in each of his first 2 games, and we told you how underwhelming he was in his first 2. So if he can have a good night tonight, he should get that number easily. And then Trey Turner, like you said, that's similar to Embiid, similar to Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown. Like, you could lay it every game, and if you do it every game, by the end
you're going to have a high winning percentage at the end of the season. 100%. Yeah. It's not going to hit. It's not going 100%. That's for damn sure.
No, not at all.
You will profit by the end of the year if you continue to lay this prop. I would bet pretty good money on that one.
Exactly.
Scotty, with that said, game prediction and your standout star if the Phillies come away with a win tonight.
Yeah, so I do think that Walker comes out and has a good night tonight. I'm not going to go with him as my standout star. I point that out in reason. I do have the Phillies ultimately winning this game 6-2 tonight. So they're going to win by 4 in my book. Statement game. They need to dominate this game in a sense. And I think a 6-2 win will suffice for me. Obviously they lost 6-2 last night, so let's just
flip the script a little bit.
Flip the script on them. The reason I pointed out Walker holding them to 2 runs would be a good night for the Phillies. Absolutely. At this point, right? So if they hold him to 2 runs, that means Walker did his job. My standout star of the night, I'm going to stick with Trey Turner at this one. I'm going to keep it simple tonight. Trey Turner, answer the call. We need you tonight. So I'll go with Trey Turner. He'll get the 2 bases. Maybe his first home run of the year. I would love to see that.
There's something in the air today.
Something, right? Something.
There's something in this 80-degree weather today that screams the ball flying down in Cincinnati right now. And it can definitely be a hitter's ballpark. So I agree with you. There's something about Trey possibly getting one over that left field wall today. Listen, man, 2 days ago, he came about 3 inches shy and hit the top of the gate in right center field. So we'll see. With that said, I am going with the Phillies win as well. We've done a bunch of these pregame shows through the first 13 to start, not all of them because of weekends and vacation and stuff like that. However, my record's not so good because why? The Phillies record isn't so good. And I picked them to win a handful of these games already. Listen, if not tonight, I would beg the question when.
Yeah.
I asked you this morning, when does the bleeding stop? What stops the bleeding? If you can't put a patch, if you can't put a Band-Aid on that wound tonight, when are you going to?
Yeah, that's the question.
I think the Phillies win. I like 6. Part of me wants to say there might even be a little bit more of an offensive explosion tonight. I'm going to go with 1 up on you. I'm going to go with Phillies 7, and I'm going to go with the Reds 3. I'm just going to bump it up a run each for both. Phillies 7, Reds 3. You're not going to pick Walker as your standout star, but I'm going to take that responsibility tonight simply because I think so much goes into what he gives you tonight. Rob Thompson's use of the bullpen goes by how far he gets into the game. If he can start out strong and not give up early hits and runs, the Phillies aren't having to play from behind like they've had to do so many times to start games this season. That's big for them. If they go up 1 or 2-0, don't give it back like last night, whether that's his fault or fielding errors.
Yep.
Taijuan Walker needs a very, very impressive start tonight. My line for him, into the 6th. I would love for him to get into the 7th, but if he gives me 5 2/3 of 1 run or shutout baseball tonight with 3 or 4 hits, 1 walk or no walks, that's what I will take from Taijuan Walker tonight. Hand it over to your bullpen for the last 3 or so innings, 3 1/3, and that's where this team can kind of – let's see, I think it's so under talked about so far, Scotty, when you look at this bullpen. This bullpen, to me, is set up from the 7th inning on. We just haven't gotten to that point.
There. Yeah.
Without going the extras, I should say that. They did it the other day with Wheeler. However, the bats did nothing, so the game had to go to extra innings, and you had to exert more outs and more innings from your staff there. But Taijuan Walker, Trey Turner, standout stars of the game. Phillies 6-2, Phillies 7-3, 4-win run margin for each of us.
Gotta
and
get
that
it,
is going to wrap up this Friday night edition of DSM Pregame Live, Phillies Reds game 2 of 4. Guys, we will be back right here with you on DSM Media's YouTube channel tomorrow morning, 10 a.m.
Yes,
getting you ready for Sixers Nets game 1 of round 1 of the NBA playoffs down in South Philadelphia. That game starts at 1 p.m. So we're gonna go live a little early. Start the party, start the celebration a little bit early.
Get the energy
allow you guys to catch up more than 30, 20 minutes before tip-off. So turn on notifications, hit that subscribe button, check us out on Twitter at DSM_media, hit that follow button, all that good stuff. For myself, for Scotty, for DSM, have a great rest of your night and ring the bell.
Ring the bell. Smash it.
And Philadelphia has it.